Hello, welcome back to Mark's Garden UK. Asparagus in this raised bed behind me. I don't know if you remember, in February I bought 10 corms in the reduced section at a garden centre, and I planted them in this raised bed. Now basically you're supposed to plant asparagus corms January, so I was a little bit late to the party, but they were reduced, they're only 50p each. Anyway, of the 10 that I bought, 7 of them have survived. So whilst I'm putting this top dress on, I'll share with you what I know about asparagus care. So you plant them the first year, January, and you wait for them to grow, and you plant them on a mound of earth. You dig a channel, you put a mound of earth in it, and then you spread the corms like a big spider over that, and then you bury them. And then you wait for them to emerge. But when they do emerge, you're not allowed to harvest them for the first year. You've got to leave them in situ, and you've got to let them get established and grow as these have. Can you see here? A little bit like a fennel, actually. There's a fennel there in a pot, and these look a little bit like a fennel. When they first came out of the ground, they did look like a tiny little asparagus spear, and I was a little bit tempted to cut one of them off. Anyway, I didn't. I resisted the temptation and I left them in place, and they've grown up. Now the other thing that you've got to do is support them, because if you don't support them, these fronds blow about in the wind, and that can damage the root, which will affect next year's crop. So I've put canes in, and I've tied them to the canes along, as you can see. Now I've noticed that these raised beds, they're very well drained. So that's why I'm giving them a little bit of a top dress with this manure. Another reason why I'm giving them a little bit of a top dress is to feed it, because this manure is so full of fertiliser. Technically it should be well rotted manure, but I have used not rotted manure before, and it's not really done the plants any harm as a top dress, so I'm okay with it. It's absolutely full of worms, hundreds and hundreds of worms. I'll get a little close-up of the worms for you so that you can see them. But there are dozens of them in here. Those worms will work on that compost. They'll chew it. It'll go through their digestive system, and they'll excrete it at the other end. And at the same time, they'll go down into the soil, and they'll excrete that well-rotted manure that's being digested into the soil below. And so that's how the roots will get access to the food in this manure. Of course, some of it will also leach down with the rain, and that will also feed the soil. So you've got kind of two effects of feeding the soil there. The other benefit of this manure is it's going to retain moisture. So on a hot day when it's very dry, this manure will stop water from evaporating on the surface of the soil. I've not got gloves on, so I'm trying my best to avoid touching it, because it's not pleasant. So when you've left them all year growing and becoming established and getting good roots under the ground, you then prune them right back to the base, and you leave them in the ground over winter, and then next spring, year one, when they start to come up, you can actually start harvesting now. Some people say don't harvest them for 2 or 3 years, but I read the instructions on this pack and it was very clear that you were allowed to harvest them the year after you planted them. So next spring I'll be doing a video for you where I start harvesting this asparagus. I'm going to get some eggs from my neighbour's hens. I'm going to do steamed asparagus with a poached egg on top, and I'll show you me doing it. So there you go, a little bit of a video, top dressing the asparagus, and a little bit on asparagus care. I love asparagus. It's gone really expensive in the shops, so I'm hoping that these 10 crowns, which were 50p each, will more than pay for themselves. Hope you've enjoyed that. I'll see you soon for some more asparagus adventures. Bye for now.